Hey guys, welcome back. Welcome back. And she's back. Thank you guys for those who joined me for some story time, baby. That's story time, baby. Listen, I told y'all life updates. At first, listen, I told tech support, I was just like, y'all, I don't never share any of my life behind the scenes, but once I shared about the who hit my car, and you guys loved that story, and it was funny, I said, should I share about the demotion and me moving on to another job? He was just like, you can share the bits and pieces on moving in silence because somebody may need to know kind of like what to do when you're in corporate America and how to move in silence and look for something else, but still keep your, protect your peace, keep your joy, and how to deal with angry people. And then if you work in corporate America and you may be the only Black woman or African American, depending on, which terms you use in the workspace, and you're dealing with a lot of, racism in the workplace, and you have to basically bite your tongue a lot, how to do so and still win at every different angle like I did. Um, how to do so. So that was just sharing story time on how I got ahead um, in the role that I was working in, and how no one knew that I was moving in silence and gave myself a $15,000 pay raise. And no one knew that I looked for something else right underneath their nose and got a director fired all at the same time. Well, let me rephrase that. She didn't get fired, she got demoted. They gave her an opportunity of getting demoted to where she could never lead anybody and stay with the company, or you leave. And she took the demotion to where she could never be a leader at all. So basically, she's going all the way back to the bottom of the barrel. Basically, she's going below me of what my role was. And she gets a pay cut. She's no longer in the six figures. How you like those apples? How you like those nuts? I just made my daughter spit up some water. How you like those nuts? Not apples, but nuts. All right, so you guys, I am sewing up Simplicity 9825. So the goal tonight is to try to work through 10 steps tonight. That is getting pretty much the outer shell of this blazer done tonight. Wish me luck as I try to sew through 10 steps tonight. That's the plan. It's really cute. I've been wanting to sew this one since it came out. This came out in 2023, so that's 2.5 years. So let's work through it. All right. So you guys, I'm going to just use my overhead camera. This one is still on, but I'm going to use my overhead camera and work over there at the table and just use my ride or die. This is my ride or die, y'all. So let me tell you, I took my other brother machine to my girl Lisa's studio. Was it Sunday, Layla? We went. Yeah, Sunday. We went to my girl Lisa's studio, Kimberly Closets. Hey girl, if you on. And we had a good time. And I don't know, but when I have it on the table over here and I sew on the table, it wants to act a fool with me. But I take it out of, I wouldn't say out of town. It ain't necessarily out of town. It's just a couple of miles away, right? And it didn't give me any problems. But when I sew with it here, it wants to give me all the problems in the world. So we just use our ride or die at home, and then I just take that on the road with me. So let's go ahead and start working on Simplicity 9825. So I'm gonna switch cameras, but I'm still gonna chat with y'all. All right, so let's switch cameras to the top down camera. All right, y'all, so I did a little bit of prep work. I'm not gonna front. And the pieces that I'm gonna need, according to the instructions, is pattern piece 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where's pattern piece number 4? Yeah, 4. I'm gonna need pattern piece number 5, pattern piece number 6, the back, pattern piece number 7. Layla, Donzel said hello. Donzel. Oh, she said hey, you guys.
What's up?
Oh,
What's up?
what's up? No, they just said hello to you. No.
You want more?
No. I want my own pineapple. You can leave my pineapple drink alone now. All right, so I don't need pattern piece number 8. I need pattern piece number 9. So I need pattern piece 1 through 9, but skip pattern piece number 8. That's all I need tonight. And I'm hoping that this is a relatively easy sew tonight.
Oh, sorry.
Woo! You all right? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm sorry.
I forgot I was there.
So what I'm going to do is, instead of having dark, bright lights over here at the table, I'm going to dim the lights a little bit so they're not extremely bright. Hey, Layla, could you get the light in the back right over there?
Yeah.
That, dim that one so it's not bright at the table. Don't knock the camera over though. Don't knock. No, just the top part. Just the top one. Yeah, all the way down. Yeah, so then it's not like really, really bright on the table. There we go. There we go.
Let's not bump my head. That hurt.
There we go.
Okay. You good?
Yeah, it's because I'm using a lot so when I'm using this camera for the live, it doesn't need to be bright. But when I'm using the GoPro, when I'm doing the sew alongs, it needs to be bright.
Yeah.
So I can use, like, when I'm using this one right here for the sew alongs, or when I have the camera over here when we're doing the cut, when we're cutting, when I have the camera over here. Yes, I need these to be on bright hue lights, but then when I'm doing the live, it needs to be dimmed lights instead of the bright. Make sense? I don't need this one. This one could stay on bright.
I now know that's good quality because that freaking hurt.
Yeah, they're heavy. That's why I don't move them. That's why they stay put in the same spot.
Ow.
And all I do is just turn the lens. They're heavy, right?
Yeah, I whacked my head.
They're solid lights. I told you. That's why I got 4 of them.
4? I want to see 30.
Hey, Christy said hello. Lady Angel, that's Christy. She over here posing for y'all. All right. All right, bye. Bye, girl. All right, I'll let you know if I need anything. Thank you. I would call her my maid, but she's not my maid. She's just my assistant. She's just my assistant, y'all. My assistant got paid yesterday. Y'all should see me giving her $50 out of my wallet. Lord Jesus. All right, so these are all the pieces. I have not fused them, but I'm gonna fuse them as I work on them. So I'm gonna start with, I wrote them into like days, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, because I was gonna originally do that because I was gonna work on a little bit after work. But since I'm doing it on live, we're not gonna do it that way. But I'm gonna start off with pattern piece number 1 and pattern piece number 2. So it says apply interfacing to front section. Did that to reinforce small dot. at inner corner of front, stitch along the seam line for about 1 inch each side of small dot, stitch through small dot, and then clip front to small dot at inner corner. Being careful not to clip through stitching with right sides together. We're going to pin the side to side, front and side back, and then match notch and stitch. All right. That sounds like a lot of nothing. Oh, Donzel, listen. That girl, you know what? A lot of people say that they love um um like the bond that my daughter and I have. I wouldn't have it any other way, y'all. And the reason why is simply because growing up, a lot of people don't have that with their parents. And I'm not going to lie to you, I did not have that with my mom growing up. So I like that I have that with my daughter. Because me and my siblings, we didn't have that with my mom. So I'm just making sure that, my daughter could come and talk to me about anything. And we have that bond. We do. I have the same thing with my son too. So, but honestly, like, I think like me and my husband and I, we both just make sure that they're good, and they could, they talk freely for the most part. So, all right. You know what? Tell me why I don't have orange thread. I still have lavender thread in my sewing machine. Isn't that something? But I did use orange when I made the macaws pattern. And tell me why my daughter over here talking about she wants that pattern. She wants any and everything that I make. Like, I don't know. I don't know about this child sometimes. Ooh, I want this. Ooh, I want that. And you know what I tell her? I want $1 million, and that still didn't happen. So I tell her when I get $1 million, then she could get this. She's like, that means that you ain't gonna make it for me. That doesn't mean that. That just means that, I just don't want to make it right now. That's all that means. That doesn't mean that I'm not gonna make it. It just means that I'm not gonna make it right now. That's all that means. All right, let me thread me a bobbin. So it doesn't look like I'm just ignoring you guys. I'm not ignoring you guys. I just got to thread me a bobbin. And because I ran out of, I probably have some outside in my way wax stash. So I have to do it the weird way and use my serger thread for some bobbin thread for right now. Because I'm just being lazy. And plus, because this is a test muslin, to test that fit, I will make sure to get some orange thread tomorrow after the movies. I'm going to see, I'm taking my son to the movies to see Toy Story. I think Toy Story 5. Because tomorrow is his official birthday. He will be 11 and he wanted to go see Toy Story. So that's what we're going to see tomorrow. I'll have an 11-year-old tomorrow. Man, I'm getting old. Ah, I'm wrong for that. I'm wrong for that. All the way wrong for that. All right. All right, so the sale, I know I did not post the sale this week because your girl been busy learning her job. That's basically what I've been doing all week. Okay. And that's why y'all didn't really get a video this week outside of my video that posted today, which was the lavender haze suit. Give it up for baby girl for taking my photos last weekend. Now listen, y'all. The suit been done for over a week, but getting those photos in this humidity in Florida, that was a different story. Oh, yeah. She took those photos last week on Saturday. And man, it was hot. It was hot. I don't even know how. The behind the scenes footage is the hilarious part. When I have to listen to my daughter, put your hands on your hips, do this, do that, lean your head to the side. She be doing too much. She be doing too much, y'all. She be doing too much. All right. Where's my... Thank you, Donzel. Yeah, so listen, my daughter does an amazing job with taking the photos, so that's why I be hamming her like, hey, you ready to take these photos? And you know what she say? What's my paycheck looking like? What my paycheck looking like? And then, you ready for this? She's like, when's the next photo shoot? That's all she worried about. When the next photo shoot so she could get paid. When my next photo shoot. So I told her, I was like, we got to do the live pants. She was like, when we doing that? So now I'm like, man, I need to space these photo shoots out a little bit because, man, your price range is way too high. We need to cut it. Cut it. Cut it. Cut it. We need to cut it. Cut it. Cut it. We need to cut it. Oh, dang price is a little... Oh, no, my baby girl do not work for free. No. She get it from her mama. She get it from her mama because I tell my daughter, do not work for people for free. Mm-mm. I won't let her work for nobody for free. Nope. Her grandpa even have to pay. He be wanting, oh, could you make me this? Could you make me that? She like, grandpa, that's gonna cost X amount of dollars. You go charge your old man? Yes, sir. Your mama got you like this. Yes, sir. That's wrong. And you know what I tell him? I get it from you. Mm-hmm. How you gonna be mad? And I get it from you. Hmm? My daddy was a straight up hustler in his days when he was a kid and passed it down to me on how to flip your money several different ways. Now my son, what he do is he be like, Mommy, you want some water? Could I get you some water? Could I get you something out the kitchen? And he comes back to me and he be like, that's gonna be 50 cents to get me some water. So then what I start doing is, hey, could you pass me this? Hey, do you mind getting me this? Do you mind getting me that? And then when I say, do you mind? It's no cost. But then if he asks me, could he get me something? It's cost. It's a cost to it. So now I just use the, hey, do you mind getting me this? Hey, do you mind getting me that? No cost. Because it's like, dude, I'm not paying you for every time you go get me some water out the kitchen. I'm not paying you for that. Come on now. Give me a break. Exactly, Donzel. Exactly. I paid a water bill and I gotta go. I gotta pay you to go get my own dang water. Come on now. Y'all crazy. But my kids be hustling me. I'll tell you. My kids be hustling. It be your own kids hustling you. Ain't that something? Sharina, girl, listen. On that life update, listen. I could write a whole lifetime story on them. But I tell you what, here in the state of Florida, no one wants to do anything. If you know what I mean. You'll be waiting forever for EEOC. Nobody wants to do anything. And I think that company is so big to the point, um, that company that I work for is so big and well known to the point where if you was trying to sue them, they're so well known that even a lawyer don't even want to take your case. Yeah, exactly. Been there, tried it. I tried it. I tried it. I put it like that. I tried it and they said no. I tried it. Just know I tried it. That's why I said I had to leave before somebody get hurt. I had to. Because what we ain't gonna do, we ain't gonna play with the kids, okay? We ain't gonna play. We ain't doing that. I'm nice and I have lots of patience, but what I don't have patience for is family. I don't have patience for that. No, no, ma'am. I'm nice and I have lots of patience and I can take a lot of mess, you know what I'm saying? But what I'm not gonna do is take mess on the way that you talk to somebody, especially like your tone of voice. Oh, come on now. We're not doing that. If I wanted to be yelled at, I could go back to the military. I had enough of that yelling when I was in the military. We ain't doing that. My dad's prior military, 23 years, and he was a drill sergeant for 12. So you already know. I'm good with the yelling. I'm good on that. I was in the military. I went through basic training, got yelled at like nobody. I'm good with all that yelling. I don't do that. We not doing that. Mm-mm. I'm gonna look at you like you crazy when you get to yelling. Say what? Excuse me, my ear, my ears. I'm tone deaf. Get the yelling like you crazy. Get the heck up out of my face with all of that. Sharina, you know what? Listen, if I ran into them on the street, I, look, I would say hello and keep it moving. I would say hello. You know what? I'm not gonna be rude. I'm not a rude person. I would say hello and keep it moving. I would say hello and keep it moving because I know one thing for sure and two things a fact. They would never say what's on their mind if they was to see me outside of that job. Never. Now, Amy, every time I gave her attitude, she started crying. So that says enough right there. I I told her the day I told her that she nosy. You said that I was nosy and started crying. Like I can't. I can't. I was like, this witch is crying because I said, you nosy, nosy neighbor, get out of my face, girl. Bye. Mm-mm. Heck to the no. You crying over me saying that you nosy, girl. If child, child. Look, I learned how to be cordial with foolishness. The patience level. Listen, I would be at work with headphones on my ears, and I would always lie and say I'm on a call. Wouldn't even be on no call. Yes, I'm on a call. Don't worry. Yep, I'll come see you right after this call. Would never. Would never. Because my level of patience and foolishness and bullcrap, yeah, no time for it. Like my daddy would say, I'm going to need you to clean up all those tears up off my floor. Mm-mm. Could never. Yeah, Amy would cry. People would leave. Like people, like when people be like, I'm putting in my 2-week notice, I'm leaving. She would cry when people leave. Girl, people leave because it's their time to go. You crying because people's leaving? I'm sorry. I know you can't be that damn attached to people. No, ma'am. Hell to the no. Trying to act like you so dang. Oh, I'm gonna miss you. When I announced me leaving, she was just like, oh, if you need anything, let me know. So, I'm cordial with this heifer, talking about, yes, I'll let you know if I need anything. And I so much appreciate you. In my head, I'm like, biatch, please. If you don't get your Beetlejuice looking happy tail on out of my face, girl. Just like Miss Crockett was talking to Taylor, and what she said, bad body. What did she say? I can't even remember because it was so damn funny. Bad bleach body. Yeah, that's what came to mind when she said, "I'm gonna miss you." Jasmine Crockett. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. Oh man. All right, I'm putting this no, wait. Oh snap. This is the lining. Oh shit. Hold on, wait. Let me back up. I was moving too fast and almost put the lining, not the lining. I need to put the side front and side back. Let me move that lining out of the way. Not the lining. Not the lining, Rochelle. Let me take this lining off. I almost put the lining on and realize not the lining. Put this over here. Not that lining. Boom, boom, boom. All right. Now what I'm doing is I'm putting. Shoot. There we go. I'm putting the side front to the front, right sides together. But yeah, and then something tells you when you start seeing. So when I first got there to this company, the first, I want to say the first 3 months I was there, I'm not lying and I'm not exaggerating. 8 people left, right? 8 people leave this company on their own. They didn't get fired or anything, on their own. 8 people leave in the first 90 days of me being there. I should have known something. That is a high freaking turnover. But I didn't think nothing of it. I just figured, that, they just decided that they was leaving because, they just found something better and, they've been there for a while. So I'm thinking that they just been there for a while. I wasn't asking any questions or anything. No, I'm like, oh, they pay very well, and so that's what I thought. Listen, so Amy, she knows what's up. She knows. She sat right next to me. Amy sat right next to me. We had workstations. We didn't have our own office, no baby. She sat right next to me at a desk to where I could literally reach over and slap the taste out of this girl's mouth. That's how close we sat. And she knew I was not finna play with her. I mind my business and had my own screen. So Amy knew what was up. I sat at my desk and the whole 8 hours I'd said nothing to this girl. Nothing. Good morning. Have a good day. That's all I said to her. If people was talking in the office, they I was not in their conversation. Mm-mm. They will have a conversation amongst themselves, and Rochelle will never open up her mouth. If you ain't speaking to me, that's fine. But Amy will always jump her happy tail in other folks' conversation. Mm-mm. Y'all remember back in the days when when your grandparents and your mama say, if no one's talking to you, stay in a child's place. Spoke when spoken to. Mm-hmm. Yeah. um, on the daily, as much as I wanted to literally slap the SHIT sugar honey iced tea out of both Amy and Angie. Mm, mm. I was running laps around both of those heifers. I was running laps. And to keep my sanity, y'all, so in September, after my daughter passed out, and after I had enough with both Angie and Amy, right? I was like, you know what? To keep my peace or whatever, I'm finna just I started literally every time Amy said something I'm gonna say something ridiculously stupid, right? Ridiculously stupid. She she would be in a meeting answering her own question, dumbass question too. Well, I think, what do you think? And no one would say anything. I would never answer her questions in our meetings. So I think this and I think that. What do you think? And anytime she says, what do you think? My cue is, you ain't talking to me. You're talking to someone else. So I would never answer her question, right? Anytime it's an open-ended question, like I don't know who you asking the question to, so I just don't answer the question. I just let somebody else answer her question, right? Because you don't talk to me to begin with, so I sit right next to you. So if you was really trying to ask me a question, you could have asked me before we got in this meeting. That's how I look at it, right? So I just don't answer her at all. Before the meeting, after the meeting, during the meeting, I just don't answer her, period. We get out the meeting and I'm sitting right next to her, and then she all of a sudden, hey Rochelle, what did you think about the meeting? And I just shrugged my shoulders like, mm-hmm. Don't say nothing. She was like, "Oh, I guess the cat thing got your tongue. Don't even insinuate nothing. Don't say nothing." She was like, "Oh, I guess so." With an attitude. And I'm like, if this bitch only knew how that snapback is going to be if I say something to this girl. I don't want to make her cry again. So, Rochelle, hold your mule. Because that clap back is going to clap back and bite a happy tail in the butt. She better leave me alone today. That cat thing got your tongue. Okay. So then we ended up getting two college graduates in their 20s, right? Two black girls in one of the centers, right? And the director had the nerves to mess with one of the black girls that's from the Caribbeans. Oh, wrong idea, baby. She's from the Bahamas. Wrong idea, baby. Now she was the one, not me. She was the one that got this girl demoted. Got the director demoted. See, why you was too busy worrying about me. The girl from the Bahamas got your happy tail demoted. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. Say ah. See, you gotta stay in your lane. You gotta stay in your lane. She wasn't staying in her lane and got. She wasn't an EGOT though. She didn't win an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, or a Tony. She won that stupid award. Stupidly inclined. Yes, Donzel, that Mean Girls. Yes. Yes. No matter what I did. Oh, they hated my guts. But being the only black woman, first of all, older woman, number one, with children. Now, the director, she was 36. She just had a baby. Baby was one. One. So when I started, she just got back from maternity leave, right? So her baby just turned one. Now, I don't know if she was going through that postpartum depression or what, but she was batshit crazy for real. For like, when I say she was batshit shit crazy, this chick, when I say she always talked about her husband and not in a good light. No, I don't want to hear about your escapades with your hubby. I really don't. I really don't. I don't want to know what you do with your hubby in the bedroom. I really don't care. I really don't want to know. That should be something that you and your hubby know. Everybody in your office should know. And you supposed to be the director? That's bad business practices. You know what I mean? I shouldn't be riding on a train with you to South Florida and you telling me your whole business with your husband. And I only been knowing you for literally 1 month. Ain't that red flag syndrome? And then had the nerves to look at me and say, well, what are some of the weirdest places that you done something crazy? I said, my bedroom. That means none of your damn business. That's what that means. Heck you talking about, lady? None of your damn business. All right. So I sewn the side front. Ooh. I'm gonna press this open and then do the other one the same way. Let me press this open. Now I'm gonna use my pressing hand. I just said pressing hand. My seam roll. I'm gonna press this on with my seam roll. Ooh. All right. Let me put this out the way. But I'm pretty sure the people who is still there is happy that that lady is gone. Well, no longer leading them. No longer leading them. Definitely didn't need to be no damn leader. And it's bad when, you have a leader that take advantage of their title, and treat people just bad because of their title. Like, that's the bad crap that they do, though. All right, so I have the side back on to the front. Let me press this other side seam, the seams open. And this one is going to be a wearable muslin. And look, my sister already called dibs. As soon, when I shared in the last live that this one's going to be a wearable muslin, she was like, could I get that one? Like, I just shared the pieces. That's all I did. She was like, could I get that one? I was like, I guess. She was like, you making it in green, so could I get that one? I was like, man, this one's been cut out as a wearable muslin for a year. So I guess you can. All right, so this is the front and side, front and back. I'm gonna move this off to the side real quick and grab pattern piece. I am on step number 3 right now. I'm gonna grab, no, I'm on step number 2. I'm gonna grab the pockets. Now I'm debating on the regular one, on my green one that I'm gonna make with real fabric, if I'm gonna put pockets on it or not. I'm gonna see if I like the pockets and flaps on this one, and then determine when I make the green one if I like it. So that's why I'm going through the whole process as if I'm making the green one, to see if I want all the details, the bells and whistles that I'm doing with this one. I'm gonna see if I want all those bells and whistles. All right, so I need to fuse the pocket pieces together, which is what I'm gonna do now. And let me fuse these pocket pieces together real quick. These are some big, huge freaking pockets, though. These seems huge. All right, where's all the pattern pieces? All right, I'm keeping up with all the pattern pieces that I have used so far. All right, let me fuse pattern piece number 3. On Donzella, are you referring to the lavender one? Okay, so listen, y'all, that lavender one, it came out super cute. Don't get me wrong. But that oversized blazer, I'm gonna be real with myself, y'all. I don't like the oversized part. It's super cute and it's sitting over here on my dress form. But real talk, no. That oversized, not the vibe I was going for. So it is definitely going to be donated. I'm not taking the time to take it out and repurpose it. I'm just not going to take the time to take it in and all that good stuff. I'm not doing that. And the reason why is simply because the fabric is $3.99. And I'm just going to buy 3 yards of the fabric and make it again and donate that one. I think I would save more time of just making it again and spend 3 hours sewing it again versus taking it down, taking it in, all of that stuff. It would take more time to undo it, seam rip it open and all that good stuff versus just cutting it out and sewing it again and all that good stuff. So that's why I'm not going to take it down and redo it. I'm just going to cut it all out and put it all together again. But either do it all in a 16. Oh, no, I think I'm going to do 14 at the bust and waist and then 18 at the hips. That's what I'm going to do. Because it's a little way too oversized in the bust and waist. Yes, Fabric Wholesale Direct. All right, so here's the pockets, pattern piece number 3. And then what I'm gonna do is take the lining piece, which is pattern piece number 4. I'm gonna press these out real quick and then attach it at the top. All right, so now I'm going to put these at the top of pattern piece number 3, just like this. And then I'm gonna stitch 5/8 of an inch seam allowance across. But I'm gonna leave an opening at the top too to turn it. So I'm going to pin at that notch in the center. And then I'm going to leave an opening. And because I'm leaving an opening, I'm just gonna put two pins. That's just gonna be my opening between those 2 pins. And then I'm gonna put a pin here and a pin about right here, enough to leave an opening to turn. All right, so I'm gonna stitch using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, but leave an opening. All right. All right. And then I'm going to start here on the other side of that pin. Still using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. And then I'm gonna do the other pocket the same exact way. All right, so I got both of those done. Now I'm gonna turn them right side out. All right. I'm gonna make it in a lavender again, Christy. Yeah, so Donzel, one thing I don't like doing, like when I make something, I don't like just, like throwing it out. I rather donate it to someone who's a little bit bigger than me, or um sometimes what my daughter like doing is hand stitching something together. She don't play with no Barbie dolls or anything, but what she'll do is she has her and my son, they have like these teddy bears that they've been having for a very long time, or like when my husband and I used to go overseas, right, for work. um he has bears from like Afghanistan and stuff like that. So they refuse to get rid of them because, we no longer go across the waters like that anymore, because we no longer work for the Department of Defense. So they keep those, and because they keep those bears from Afghanistan, Iraq, Kyrgyzstan, and stuff like that, she would take like any scrap fabric that I have and kind of hand sew and make her teddy bears, clothes, or whatnot. Now I'm gonna say that they're not the best, but she tries. So yeah, so yeah, so they do stuff like that. She made one of her teddy bears a eye patch with some scrap fabric. uh, I'm wondering what you know the bear thought about his eye patch, but yeah. All right. All right. So now what I'm going to do is um I'm going to stitch along the edges now of the lining. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that this is lining up, and I'm going to pin all the way around the side seams and the bottom. So what you can do is if you want to press this seam, this seam needs to be pressed towards the lining. Ooh, sorry to hear that, Millie. Eye infection. Ooh. So, listen, you guys. So, I don't know if you guys watched Yoga Bird from Bird Sews video that she put out. I want to say yesterday or the day before. Did y'all watch that video? Or did y'all even see that video from Yoga Bird about simplicity? So, listen, you guys. So, Bird, her observation is just like mine, y'all. Spot on. Because I thought the same thing. Okay, so listen. So I was thinking kind of like Bird was thinking. Like, I haven't seen any patterns from Nomi drop since winter. Y'all can look that up. Y'all could go to simplicity.com and see that Nomi hasn't dropped any patterns since winter 2025, right? Um, and I mean, I don't know nothing about the whole Abby leaving Simplicity. I don't know nothing about that. And I'm gonna be real, because after Joanne and that whole downfall, I literally stopped going to the blogs and, reading up on the news of the whole, I call it the gossip news or whatever, on who's doing what, when, where, how. I just stopped reporting on all of that, because I'm gonna be real. I didn't want my whole algorithm on YouTube to be like the TMZ of the sewing community, if that makes sense. So that's why I stopped reporting on the whole Joanne's and all of that stuff. So that's why I fell back on not reporting, because like your whole algorithm on YouTube will be just that. And I was like, dude, I don't want all of that on mine, because after the fall of Joanne's, it's like, then what are you going to talk about? Are you going to actually sew, or is it going to be turned into a whole, as I call it, the drama channel, right? And honestly, I'm not saying like Bird's channel is the drama channel, because she actually reports on good stuff. Like, let's just be clear. Um, but she was literally saying like her observation is right, because I was thinking the same thing. I was just like, um, the only place that you're going to find patterns is on simplicity.com. You're not going to see it in stores. You're not, oh, I'm sewing 5/8 of an inch seam allowance on these pockets. You're not going to be able to like physically touch the patterns anywhere. And I'm just wondering why Michael's not selling patterns. Not Joann's, but Hobby Lobby definitely ain't selling patterns if they're always come get these patterns for 99 cents, right? So, and then you still see sales on simplicity.com, but you're not really seeing the drops come out on time, not like they used to. I don't know. You hear that they're not really doing projector files, even though I don't use a projector. I just print them out in PDF and call it a day. So, I mean, she was pretty much spot on. If you have not seen Yoga Bird's video, I highly encourage you to go see and do your observation, because she was spot on with the observation that I've been seeing myself, but just haven't had time to really report on it or say anything about it. Ooh, pocket, 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 pocket. um, Now it's been said, I don't know how true it is, that Abby Small has left Simplicity. I don't know how true it is, but she left Simplicity and then took over Simplicity from the last time I heard. But when she took over Simplicity back in like March, when her and Mimi announced the whole I'm taking over Simplicity type thing, you ain't heard nothing about it since it was announced, right? Then the whole Brittany was laid off. You don't see the McCall sew-alongs anymore that was originally done by Raven and Brittany on the Simplicity website. I mean, it's just a lot. So stand back and look and do some observation. So who did in April? Christy? Because I missed something. All right, so I'm trimming down the seam allowance of these pockets. Trim around these corners for sure. You don't want those corners just looking any kind of way. All right, so now I'm going to turn it. Remember that opening that you were supposed to leave a little opening there, and then you're supposed to turn. I don't think I left a big enough opening, but hey, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. Christy said she have a lot of time on her hands. Oh. All right, so I'm gonna turn it right side out and give it a press, and then I'm gonna slip stitch the top, aka sew on my sewing machine, because y'all know your girl don't like slip stitching. We ain't doing all of that, okay? So I'm just gonna be careful to not rip anything, and I'm just gonna go slow and try to pull all of this fabric out through that little opening that I left right here. All right. I didn't leave a big enough opening, but we go make it work. We go make it work. All right. So for my people who know about Mystical, okay, y'all know the danger being so long. He's been on. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? I know y'all didn't miss that. He got 20 years, right? I'm not surprised. All of his songs told what he do. Okay. I know y'all didn't miss that news. Whew, child. All right, so we have this pocket. I'm going to fix it. Now I'm going to also turn the other one out as well through this little opening. Donzel said, I know that song. Y'all know I'm going to give you at least one song on this live. So, Mystical made the news this week too, as he got 20 years in jail, right? For sexual assault. And he had to get registered as an offender. Yeah. But I'm like, man, Mystical, I used to listen to you back in the days too, man. But you listen to those songs long enough, then you're like, well, you did kind of tell us, you did kind of warn us too. You know what I mean, you did kind of tell us back then, but we wasn't paying attention. I came here with in my hand. Don't let me beat that. Be cool. I mean, you did warn us. I'm just joking, y'all. I'm just joking. I'm being funny right now. But listen to the lyrics and the words. Listen to the lyrics, then you know what I'm talking about. Mad crazy. Bat crazy. And it's like, man, I grew up with these people. Then you find out later, like, what was wrong with you, man? What was wrong with you? All right, so this is pocket number 1. Pocket. And that's the lining right here. That's the pocket. And the lining right here. Now let me poke out the corners to this one. Using my point turner. Make sure. And then I'm going to press it. And right now I'm on getting ready to be on step number 4. I'm not doing too bad. I'm actually doing pretty good tonight. Not doing too dang bad. All right. All right, so now I'm going to press these pockets. Let me see. Poke it out a little bit more so it doesn't look all kinds of weird. There we go. And then I'm going to slip stitch that opening close. So let me give it a good press and then stitch that opening close. So I'm gonna have to find a really good lining. Well, I do have green. I actually got green lining for that blazer. So I did pick up some green lining for the green blazer. All right, so this slip stitch. Ooh. Now, actually, I'm gonna have to do this. I'm gonna actually have to do that with my hand. I'm gonna have to slip stitch that closed by hand. Otherwise, actually, I could create a line right here, which is no, no. I'm gonna leave that to do by hand, which I'm not gonna do it by hand because this is a wearable muslin, and because there's gonna be a flap there, I'm gonna sew that when I put that flap there. All right. So the next step is to attach the pockets onto the front and side front of the blazer or jacket, whatever you want to call it. So let me grab the front pieces. All right. And then what we have here is we have these 2 dots and these 2 dots. This goes at the bottom 2 dots, these 2 dots. So you want to put it in between those 2 dots, and then I'm going to pin. And it's who getting out? Mystical. Psh. I think they didn't even do a bell for him though, Christy. All right, so then what I'm going to do, I'm going to stitch all the way around, starting at the top, go all the way around. Leave this open. I'm going to pin the other one the same way. So with P. Diddy's case, Is there any updates on that? Because that's one case that I haven't been hearing anything about lately. Like the only thing that I've been hearing about is Carmelo lately. So I'm gonna pin this pocket so I could do both of them at the same time and don't have to come back and pin and all that good stuff. Be done with both of them at the same time. Y'all know I like to work smarter, not harder. All right, so now I'm gonna go and sew around the pockets. Huh. They moving his date up for good behavior. That's mad crazy. All right, so let's sew these pockets. All right, so time to sew these pockets on. Get as close to the edge as possible. I'm going about 1/4 of an inch. Then I am going to turn it just to keep the 1/4 of an inch going, but still want to make sure I'm going in the direction of that curve. That's when you just want to go slowly. So you ain't you're not disturbing that curve, but you're still in line with 1/4 of an inch. All right, back to this other curve. Turn it a little bit. Turn it a little bit more. And then sew the rest of the pocket up. And one pocket is on. I'm gonna sew the other pocket the same exact way. Ooh, this pocket look good with that peekaboo lining. Let me show y'all this peekaboo lining right here. Y'all see that? Y'all see that? That kente in the man. I don't know, sis. I might have to be an Indian giver right about now. I'm just joking. Let me be an Indian giver to my sister. She could be like, for real. I know you part Indian, but damn, you gonna be an Indian giver too. Be like, dang, you being just like your Indian daddy. I'm just... Let me stop. Oh man. I'm surprised my sister ain't even on that live on this live tonight. She hear me talking about her so damn bad right now. She be like, for real, sis, I got you. do so listen, so fam, do you have any siblings that sew or do hair or whatever, right? So listen to this. So yes, my siblings know that I sew. I have a sibling that does hair. She owns her own hair salon and stuff like this, right? So people think that just because like I sew, my siblings sew. No, they don't. Just because one does hair doesn't mean that all the siblings do hair. Just because my brother is a rapper doesn't mean that all of us rap. I mean, like, we all do different things, right? Um, just because one of my brothers, he's a radiologist, right? Doesn't mean that all of us work in, the healthcare industry, right? Just because I do project management doesn't mean that all of us do project management. You know what I mean? So it's just weird. It's just weird when someone asks, "So do all of you guys do hair?" I don't know how many times one of my siblings will get asked that. So do your sister do hair too? So this is how she answers. All of my sisters could braid hair. This is how my younger sister, who owns a salon in Atlanta, she says, now all of my older sisters could braid hair. However, that's not their passion. And I love when she says that because she's like, now both of my older sisters, they could braid the heck out of some hair, but that's not their passion. I was like, sis, I'm glad that you tell people that I could braid hair, but that's not my passion. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. The only hair that I'm gonna braid is my daughter's. That's it. And I barely do that. I have to have she basically have to have something going on for me to braid her hair. All right, so I have both pockets done. All right, so the next thing is the flap. So pattern piece number 5. And I'm gonna sew around. Well, first let me fuse the flaps together. I'm actually making good freaking progress on this. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna fuse. Let me move these lining pieces out of the way. I'm gonna fuse. I'm saying this all the way over here, but I'm gonna fuse 2 of the flap sections together. Let me move this off to the side real quick. And I'm gonna fuse 2 flap pieces together real quick. Actually, you know what? Let me get my marking pen and mark, because apparently I didn't mark it after I cut it. Now, remind you, this has been cut for over a year, so the markings is probably no longer there. So let me mark it again. Yes. So I have not seen the MJ movie yet, and I know I'm probably the only person that have not seen Michael Jackson movie. So look, here has been sold out since it came out, like here in Orlando. It's like, oh, So yes, it's been out for a while and I haven't went to go see it yet. Cause I was like, well, you know what? I might as well just wait for it to come out. Um and just watch it like on Netflix or whatever when it comes out of the theater. And I think that's what I'm gonna watch because then I could pop popcorn and have like a movie night and watch it at my house. So I'm gonna wait until it comes out and do that because, or I could just do a date night with the hub and watch it. But then baby girl's like, oh, I want to see it. I want to see it. So I think I might just do a day in and we all watch it when it comes out. It's gonna be late than a mug, but I am going to watch it. I can tell you that. But I just don't know when I'm gonna get to see the MJ movie. Because this whole month, every weekend, Saturday and Sunday, it has been booked. Like last weekend, I took the kids to SeaWorld and then I had a sewing social with one of my soul sisters. And then the week before that, we what did we do the week before that? Um we went putt golf on Saturday and then Sunday I did a fundraiser car wash. And and then this weekend is Father's Day and my son's birthday and then next weekend it's something else going on. So like every weekend this month, I don't have a free weekend until and then the 4th of July weekend, it's our vacation where we are going to be um doing our vacation. The 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So I don't really have a free weekend until after the weekend after the 4th of July weekend. So that's what we got going on. All right, so the flaps. I fuse this together, and then what I'm going to do is take one of the lining flaps and kind of like what we did for the pockets, I'm going to put one on top of the other and then sew. I think the flaps are 5/8 of an inch seam allowance all the way around, leaving the top open. Yeah. And then we're going to turn it right side out. So I'm just going to pin. This is there we go. Turn it over just like that. Right sides together. And we're just going to pin all the way around. Just like this. And if you're following along with the instructions, I don't know what number I'm on. I think it's 5. Step number 5. Only have like 5 more steps to go tonight, and then I am done, son. And then I'll pick up next time with the sleeve, I think is the next one. Part 2 is going to be doing the sleeves and then end with doing the lining on part 3. And then I know some people just don't like doing doing the lives. And then I may do my entire green as a sew along. We will see. So now what I'm going to do using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, I'm going to sew all the way around and then turn it right side out. All right, 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. And then do the other flap the exact same way. Anyone watching the cup? All right, so I have both flaps done. I'm gonna trim the seam allowance down. I think it's pretty cool that the cup is held in the United States in 11 different US cities. I thought that was pretty cool. And there a lot of the foreigners are like, yo, it is hot here. I'm like, yeah, thanks to that humidity. I know some of the people from like England, they probably dying here right now. Like, yo, it is hot. And then I'm sorry for the people up in Massachusetts who ran out of alcohol. Yeah, y'all ran out of alcohol. Yeah. Can I do the moonwalk? That's one thing that I cannot do, Donzel. I cannot do the moonwalk. Millie said, get too emotional over soccer. Ah, Donzel, no, I cannot do the moonwalk. That's one thing I cannot do. Listen, I could do many dances, but I cannot. I cannot do the moonwalk. I used to try it back in my days, but yeah, nah. Moonwalk, I could never do. Now I could dance like Janet Jackson now, but I cannot do Michael. I could do some of Sierra's moves too. Y'all remember that promise dance? But you know what? I used to always dance like Aaliyah. When Aaliyah, that Are You That Somebody? Are You That Somebody? I did that for a talent show when I was in high school. Yes. Or One Page Letter, um, One in a Million. I used to do every Aaliyah song for a talent show. Yep. I knew all of her dances like nobody's business. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna press the flaps and then I'm gonna attach it to the jacket. All right. So let me go ahead and press these flaps and then attach it to the jacket. All right. So go ahead and press these flaps. I feel like I'm kind of sewing the blazer I just did a second time, but the difference is this one has pockets. The other one had welt pockets. And when I say the video had me like, what in the HELL hockey stick is this BS? Because just go to the video and you will see what the heck I'm talking about, because my brain was not connecting what Mimi was putting down. Yeah.
Hi, mommy.
Hey, buddy. What's going on, buddy?
May I have some of my watermelon candy?
Yeah, that's fine. Get like 3 pieces. Okay. So, next step is for me to go ahead and line up the dots on the flaps So there's a dot there and a dot there, and yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna line up the dots, and I noticed that they do not match. So I need them to match, but I want them to, so this needs to go here. Because when I cut, I want to be sure I can't see the dot over here on this side. Because if I put them all the way up here, when they fold down, I want it to be nice and neat, okay? When they fold down, I want them to be even and not like hanging off. Okay, so I'm gonna pin, and I'm looking at the lining portion supposed to be on the inside, not on the outside. So this dot is supposed to go to the top dot, and I'm gonna pin. Let me grab my pin. Where's my pen case? Right here. Now, according to the instructions, let me look at these instructions. It says I am on number 6. Now, it says that I'm going to pin the flap to the front, placing basting along flap line, matching small dot as shown, stitch along basting, trim close to the stitching line, trim close to stitching, turn flap down, and then I'm going to top stitch. So I'm going to grab pattern piece number 1, because apparently I didn't transfer this flap line, which is the top line. So the flap line is that line at the top. So basically where that dot is the flap line. So I'm supposed to be, yeah, okay. It's exactly where I put that dot at. Okay. So I'm just going to sew. That's supposed to be my basting line. All right. And I'm going to do the same thing to the other flap. Where that dot is, put that dot to that dot. And pin. And then pin the other side the exact same way. And now I'm going to base all the way across. Donzel said to Leah, "Ancier?" Yes. My go-to. All right. All right, so now I'm going to baste across the flaps. All right, put it underneath there. And now I'm going to baste across. I'm going to switch to a basting stitch first. And I'm not going to backstitch, but I'm just going to baste across. All right. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to trim this down. And then once I trim it down, I'm going to top stitch all the way across. So I'm going to grab my scissors. And being careful not to cut anything accidentally. I want to be careful not to trim anything. I'm just going to put my hand underneath to make sure I'm not trimming anything or cutting the fabric or anything. I'm gonna put my hand underneath and just trim down to about 1/4 of an inch. And then I'm going to turn this flap down, which you probably can't see it right now. I'm going to turn the flap down, and then I'm going to top stitch. Let me trim it down just a little bit, a tad bit more. To make sure it's even. All right, now turn the flap down, and now I'm going to top stitch. And I'm going to top stitch 1/4 of an inch. And I'm going to switch it to a regular length stitch and then top stitch. And now it's stitched. Now I'm going to do the same exact thing to the other flap. So first I'm going to baste across this one. The same exact way I did the other one. Baste from dot to dot. I'm not going to back stitch. And I'm at the end. I'm going to trim the seam allowance down. Being careful not to clip through the jacket or the thread. Now I'm going to fold the flap down and top stitch at about 1/4 of an inch. Change your change back to a regular stitch length. Change from a basting stitch to a regular length stitch and back stitch at the beginning, and so about 1/4 of an inch. and back stitch at the end. All right, all done with the flaps. The front is coming together really well. I am liking it so far. All right. This is what it's looking like so far. Show you what it's looking like. All right, we are on number 7. So now I'm on the back. So I'm moving my front pieces out of the way, grabbing my back pattern pieces. So pattern piece number 6 and pattern piece number 7. So this is 6 and 7 is what I'm going to be working on. So grab pattern piece number 7. And what I'm going to do is it wants me to apply. So why do I have 4 pieces for? Oh, 2 is lining and 2 is fabric. That's why. So I'm going to move 2 of the back pattern pieces out of the way. So I have 2 for back. Okay, 2 for lining, 2 for fabric for pattern piece number 6. All right, so what I'm going to do is fuse lining to 2 of the back pattern pieces first. So let me do that first. So it's going to go like this. And then the other one's going to go on the other side. All right, so let me fuse both of these together real quick. So when I first looked at this blazer, I was like, oh, this is going to be like some time consuming work. But honestly, it is not that bad. I think it just looks really, really complicated from looking at the front of the envelope, honestly. All right. We put some more water in this iron and we gonna be good. We gonna be good. Okay. All right, let me iron the other back. Use the back. All right, so let me fuse the other one now. And one thing I know about some folks is that when they see like back interfacing or whatever, like you see for pattern piece number 7, some people literally just cut out fabric instead of just interfacing. And when you see something like that, what they mean is just to cut out interfacing, no fabric. So if you see, if you have a pattern and you see front interfacing, back interfacing, or some or whatnot, that just means to cut out some interfacing for that piece. Now, there is a pattern that I was working on. Actually, it was the Mood Live pants. And they had a pattern piece, they have, I should say, a pattern piece that says pocket facing. Um, it's either said pocket facing or pocket interface, I think. Yeah, pocket interface or something like that. So I cut interfacing out. And I'm thinking, like, I just need to have some interfacing. Absolutely not. They wanted you to cut fabric out. So I think it just depends on the um brand, the pattern brand that you're working on too. All right, so I am on step number 7. So I went ahead and fused this. The next step I'm gonna do is go ahead and stay stitch the neck area. What?
You want some more? Drink?
No, not right now. Thank you.
Do you want me to throw this out?
Yeah, you could throw it out. All right, so next step is I'm gonna stay stitch the back neck edge. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch the back. So I'm going to stitch the back up using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. So I'm going to do both of those at the same time at the sewing machine. All right. So let me go ahead and stay stitch. First, I'm just going to go ahead and stay stitch, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do next. All right. So let me stay stitch that first. All right. So when I stay stitch, I go from the neck to the center. So, and stay stitch is normally done at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So I'm just going to stay stitch the neck edge. And then I'm going to do the other one the same way. All right, so now that I have that done, the next step I'm going to do is with right sides together, I'm going to pin the center back and the side front and side back. So what that looks like to start wrapping this up to get the last 2 to 3 steps done. I am going to pin the center back like so. So matching up those notches, I'm going to pin the center back like this. And pin this at the bottom. Pin this there. There, here, there, and here. Now that I have that pin, I would normally sew this 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Now, before I do that, right, because you would sew that 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, right? The center back seam. All right. Now, you could do that, but because I don't want to go back and forth so many times, right? I'm going to go ahead and attach my side seams. Well, I'm going to sew that together and then I'm going to do my shoulder seam before I attach my side seams to the back. All right, so let's go ahead and do this step first and then do my shoulder seams. All right, so let's go ahead and sew up our center back first. And then I'll do my shoulder seams and stuff. All right, so, because normally I would do more steps than this one. But just to show you kind of like the process. Like the instructions. All right, sewing up my center back seam using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance and a regular length stitch. Make sure you back stitch at the beginning and at the end. And then after I sew the seam, I'm going to press my seam allowance open. All right, and this is what it looks like. I'm going to press my seam allowance open. And using my seam roll, I'm going to press my seam allowance open. All right, so it's looking really good, y'all. All right, so going to the table. So now that I have the back done, the next step is for me to sew front to back at the shoulder seams, right? So what I'm gonna do is sew the front to the back at the shoulder seams. So here and here. So I'm going to sew this to this at the shoulder seams right here. And I'm going to pin. What did I do with the pins? Where's my pink pin? I just had the pink pin case. Oh, right here. All right, so I'm going to pin at the shoulder seams. And I'm going to do the other side the exact same way. Pin the other shoulder. on this side. All right, so I have the shoulder seams pinned. Now what I'm gonna do is also pin these side seams. All right. So what you're going to do is match up the side, front, side, back. So what I'm gonna do is like this. I'm gonna match up that double notch right here and pin. And then pin all the way down. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So I'm just going to turn it like this. Move this out of my way, kind of like that. And find the notch and pin. Pin this at the top. And then pin at the bottom right there. And pin it right here. Pin there. Here. Here. There and there. Okay. So I'm going to first sew the shoulders using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. So across, back stitch at the beginning and at the end. And then I'm going to sew both the side, front and back, still using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, back stitch at the beginning and at the end. So both side seams and back, and then press the seam allowance open on the shoulders and the side, front and back. All right. Let's go ahead and do that. All right, so I'm gonna sew up the shoulders first. All right, so 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, regular length stitch. Sew the shoulders first. Back stitch at the beginning. All right. And then all right, so I have the shoulder seams done. Now I'm going to work on the side seam, the side front and back. So I'm going to, still using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, line it up with 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. I'm going to back stitch and sew all the way down. All right, and now I'm gonna sew the other side the exact same way. So let me find the other side seam right here. But this side, I'm gonna sew from the bottom up. So starting at the hem, oops, oops, switch. Too many pins in one. All right. All right, smoothing it out. Make sure nothing's bunched up underneath. All right, so now I'm gonna press all the seams open. All right, so get right here and press the seams open. All right, so and then I'm gonna do the other side seam, pressing the seam allowance open. in one more time down at the bottom. All right, now I'm gonna press the shoulder seams open. It's looking good, y'all. All right. And then the other side. All right, and this. All right, so I have that pressed open. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay, never thought about an orange blazer coat, whatever, right? This is what it's looking like so far. Let you guys see it so far. So y'all know it's gonna be something like this so far. Not done, but it's coming together so far, right? It's coming together. All right, so let me see what step I'm on. I am on number 8. All right, we're on the undercollar, and this is pretty much the last portion, the undercollar. So I only have the undercollar to put on, and pretty much that's it. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and, did I cut 2 of these? No, I cut 1. Do I have any more orange? No. Okay. I'm going to pause right here for a second because I need to cut another undercollar or cut another. Well, I only have 1 cut instead of 2. I cut 2. Do I have any more orange fabric somewhere? Hold on, y'all. I'm going to see if I have another orange or some more of that lining fabric. I don't want to freaking contrast. I'm trying to think of how I'm going to do it, because I don't think I have any more of that orange. Okay, so because I'm going to have to hunt for some orange, I'm probably going to have to pause right here for tonight. That sucks. Okay. So you guys, I'm going to look in my, hold on. Let me look in this bag with all the rest of the other pattern pieces for this project. See if there's anything in here. I see upper color. See if I accidentally put a pattern piece in here. This is 8, 10, 15. Nope. This is 15, 13. Nope. No. Nope. which means I'm going to have to either find some more of the kente fabric, probably, because I know I don't have any more of that orange. All right, it is what it is. It's just a little bit of fabric. All right, you guys, so I'm gonna stop right here for tonight because I gotta go on a scavenger hunt for some more of that kente. Just for the undercollar, I'm gonna have to put that at the bottom. But that's it for tonight. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me as I put together Simplicity 9825, wherever that pattern is at. You can find the pattern. $98.25. So I'm gonna actually show you guys. This is what it looks like so far, where I'm currently at. I had to stop right here. I didn't get to put on the undercollar because I have to cut one more of the undercollar to get it, but this is what it's looking like so far. So let me try it on to show you guys what it's looking like so far. All right, so I'm gonna try it on just to show you guys what it's looking like so far. You guys could see it. All right, so it looks red in the camera, but it's actually orange. This is funny because this one wouldn't even be so big. This would actually fit just perfectly. Oh, oh. Isn't she cute? She's cute. And look, only part one so far. It's not tight on the bootay. None of that. So this may be actually a good fit once it's done. This I still have this. It's actually a two-part sleeve, upper sleeve and a lower sleeve for this one. Yeah, it's actually cute. Oh, it says I don't know if I'm going to give it to you. Here's the lining for the pocket. Here's the pocket that I did. Functional pocket. Flaps right here. Pocket right there. Pretty cool so far. Okay. What y'all think? Pretty good, huh? Pretty good, pretty good. All right. All right, so that's what we have so far tonight. I'm going to do part two. I think what I'm going to do is I know the next sewing session is supposed to be, I think this one was just doing the muslin. The next two is just supposed to be sewing the item. But we're not doing that. I'm actually going to be doing part two on live, which is going to be doing the sleeves, I think. Yes, sleeves. Part two is going to be working on the sleeves. And then part three is going to be working on the lining. So that's going to be on live to show how I did that on live. Now, looking at this calendar, let me look at this calendar. Give me 1 second to look at my Skylight calendar. Let me tell you when that live session is. It is not next week, the 26th. It would be after the 4th, which is the 10th. We are looking at Friday the 10th for that. So I'll put something together for Friday the 10th for session 2, which would be the sleeves. All right. And it would be pretty quickly, about an hour and a half just to do the sleeves and the sleeve heading for this one. All right. All right. Well, that's it, you guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, a wonderful Juneteenth. And for those of you guys who have hubbies or partners or boyfriends or whatever, wish them a happy Father's Day. If they have any children, or if you're a mother who has to play both part, happy Father's Day to you as well. Now, you guys know that hubby gets tools and your girl get patterns, so we might be getting something for ourselves this weekend for Father's Day. No, I'm not. I can't be asking for nothing on Father's Day. I can, but I just got to wait one day. All right. Well, that's it. I'm going to play the music, and I will catch you guys in another upcoming video. I don't know if you're going to get a video Sunday, but you may have to wait until next week. We will see. All right. Talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.
Yeah, they hate when you elevate. They stacking up losses, I'm handing them out, yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment, I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly, I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. Yeah, they hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. They hate when you elevate, yeah. I had to elevate. I'm way up, way too fly, yeah, I'm feeling myself. Ain't no chance I'm coming down, no. Got a soul view to myself, yeah. Why would I give it up? Why do they wanna come take my place? I work too hard for it, don't need a replacement. This my vocation, now I got rollies all in rotation. Hop on a jet just to take a vacation. Remember the moments was trapped in the basement. Now the hard work is all taking me places. Starting all black like we trapped in the matrix. Bet on myself and go ball out in Vegas. Living a life like I'm rich and I'm famous. Don't see the grind that I know that it came with, oh. I ain't make it this far for myself, yeah. I had to prove to everybody else, I had to set them straight, yeah. I had to ball, so I had to renovate, I know. They hate when you elevate. They stacking up losses, I'm handing them out, yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment, I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly, I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate.